continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. 8 civilians were hurt in an explosion in Datu Piang on a Saturday afternoon. In an initial report, authorities say that the explosives went off at one side of a covered court in the town proper of Datu Piang. To tell us more about this, we have with us this morning Army's 6th Infantry Division spokesperson, Mr. John Paul Baldomar. Sir, good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, and good morning to all your listeners.
Sir, can you tell us exactly, based on, again, on initial investigation, on what caused the blast? Is this some form of a terror attack? And if we do have already information on who is responsible?
Regarding the incident yesterday that a bomb, an improvised explosive device exploded at the covered court of Datu Piang. As of now, ma'am, it was already confirmed in the post-plus investigation that it was an IED that was placed or pre-planted at the covered court while the volleyball game was ongoing. As with regards to the perpetrators, we are still looking into this because no one has yet claimed responsibility of the said incident.
Sir, Japan has warned of a possible terror attack in Southeast Asian countries. Is this anyway related to that?
We would like to make this incident isolated. I don't think that the warning given by Japan has anything to do with this one. First and foremost, we believe that there are several motives or angles that we would like to go into this incident. First of which is it could be a diversionary tactics used by the BIFF and Dawla Islamiyah, because for the past months we have been gaining grounds against these terror groups who are being hunted by military and security forces here in Central Mindanao for the past few months. And we have gained a lot of surrenderies and neutralization among their ranks. That's why it could be a diversionary tactics that we are using to thwart continuous operations against them. And we also receive reports from the ground that the victims, weeks before, have received death threats. The victims, most of them belong to the LGBT community, and they said that they received reports, but they kept it to themselves because they don't want to believe it. And it's one of the angles that we are also looking. And the last is it could be politically motivated. We know that Datu Piang is the election hotspot, and election is already looming around. And it could be possibly also motivated on that angle.
Colonel, given this incident and of course the reports that you've been receiving, what are the measures that are in place now to ensure the safety of the public?
First and foremost, we have heightened our security measure here in Central Mindanao, with or without the incident. And right now we are calling on to the public here in Central Mindanao to help us, because public safety is everyone's responsibility. So we are calling on to them to help us thwart similar attacks. If they see or notice anything that is unusual in their community, to immediately report it to military forces or police forces so that we can act on it. But right now, we are on heightened alert here. But as of yesterday, the situation in Datu Piang is back to normal with the augmentation of additional forces to isolate the area from any similar attacks that could possibly happen.
Well, thank you. That was Lieutenant Colonel John Paul Baldomar of the Philippine Army. Meanwhile, NCR residents and the business owners are taking advantage of lighter restrictions under the new Alert Level 4. JC Cosico has the report.
Shoppers have begun to flock to Baclaran on the first weekend of the Alert Level 4 implementation in Metro Manila. This couple traveled all the way from Laguna hoping to take advantage of the east restrictions.
Mas mura dito eh.
Yung iba kasi nawawalan yung mga pangnegosyo kasi nakakaawa din naman.
Eateries are also full of customers as limited dine-ins have been allowed.
So far so good naman kaysa dati wala. Once it serves hot, mas masarap siya.
Mas okay ka pag dito eh kasi mabubusog ka talaga. Yung problema kasi sa pag-takeout, walang makainan.
The resumption of dine-in services is a welcome development for eatery owners and employees. They now hope to somehow recover from their losses.
Mahirap pag walang dining. Hindi kami makaubos ng ulam. Eh ngayon, lugi yun pagka ganun ang nangyari. Kaya mas okay din to.
However, proper social distancing is a concern due to the huge crowds. Several customers are also seen in salons, some of whom were senior citizens who felt confident about going out after already being vaccinated.
Siyempre mainit, nasa loob ka lang kami ng bahay. Yun. So, kailangan namin kahit pa paano, mabawasan ng book. Mainit na po.
Salon employees are thankful that they are now allowed to have limited operations, but they believe that much more can be done.
Sana nga matuloy-tuloy na itong pagbubukas namin sa salon. Kaya sarado, bukas, nakawawa talaga po namin.
Metro Manila will remain under Alert Level 4 until the end of September. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion is appealing to allow gyms and spas to reopen at a limited capacity. Concepcion said they are proposing to allow the reopening of gyms and spas aside from the newly reopened salons and restaurants. He added that allowing 10% indoor seating capacity for high-risk sectors was a welcome development to see if the alert level system would work.
At least mapractice na natin, makita natin anong mangyayari kasi wala tayong magagawa, kailangan talaga buksan natin ang ekonomiya natin.
With this, Concepcion urged the public to learn to coexist with the virus. He noted that the government needs to take baby steps to eventually open up the economy amid the pandemic.
At least mapractice na natin, makita natin anong mangyayari kasi wala tayong magagawa, kailangan talaga buksan natin ang ekonomiya natin.
One lawmaker filed a bill seeking to increase hazard pay and other benefits for healthcare workers. Camarines Sur Representative El Rey Villafuerte wants hazard pay for all healthcare frontliners to be equivalent to 30% of their basic salaries during the pandemic. This means that a health worker earning 20,000 pesos will receive a hazard pay of 6,000 pesos, a 100% increase from the 3,000 pesos per month granted since last year. Villafuerte also proposed that hazard pay should also be given to workers of third-party service contractors, such as security guards and janitors assigned to medical facilities. Aside from this, the House bill seeks to plug the loopholes in the system of releasing the benefits intended for healthcare workers. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. SpaceX Inspiration 4 crew landed off the coast of Florida, 3 days after the 4 non-astronauts launched into space. The crew of amateur astronauts was composed of tech billionaire Jared Isaacman, who also paid for the flight, Dr. Cian Proctor, who made history as the first African-American female spacecraft pilot, healthcare worker Haley Arseno, data engineer Chris Sembroski. They launched September 15 and splashed down earlier today. Now, here are other stories we're following across the world. Islamic State has claimed responsibility for an attack on a gas pipeline at Deir Ali power station in Syria. That's according to a statement the group published on its affiliated social media channels. Recall that Syria's electricity minister said the attack on one of the gas lines at Deir Ali station, which led to an electricity outage that affected the country's capital, Damascus, and other nearby areas. Greece has opened a new fenced-in migrants center on the island of Samos to replace refugee camps. The new building with barbed wires enclosure and electronic doors will be guarded and includes CCTV cameras. However, refugee and aid organizations have likened the facility to a jail, which will affect the mental health of refugees. The holding centers will be used to accommodate migrants while their asylum requests are being evaluated. Meanwhile, about 25,000 people took part in the biggest illegal drinking party in Madrid since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Spanish police. Reuters reports that the drinking party, or Macro Botellón, started in one university in the city. A video of the party showed thousands of revelers not wearing masks or maintaining social distancing. Because of the sheer size of the crowd, the police were unable to clear the drinkers until 7 in the morning the next day. Authorities say there were other mass drinking parties in Barcelona and the northern Spanish city of Logroño. New Zealand has one of the strictest COVID-19 border restrictions, with most quarantine sites booked out. But these two pilots found a way to work around this predicament by quarantining at sea. This Bloomberg Quick Take tells us the rest of the story.
It means we can quarantine en route. So we arrive in New Zealand, so long as our passage has been 12 days or longer, we take a PCR test once we get in, and provided that's negative, then we're free to go. We rely on borders, international borders being open for our work, and that's not the case at the moment. So we've found ourselves with a bit of time, bit of downtime to do something else we're excited about.
Could do this kind of thing without COVID, but the fact that we're doing it now and everyone else is kind of maybe not having the best time, and the fact there's no tourists and stuff here is pretty awesome. We're seeing stuff that's normally packed and now it's empty, so we just get to go and do what we want without any tourists and get to see it untouched.
We have an opportunity to sail 4,000 miles down to New Zealand back home, because it's quite difficult to move here around Asia at the moment. We can make water, we've got solar power, the boats, she's good for the job.
It's even got a washing machine. More hands on deck kind of helps us as well, so it allows them getting into New Zealand and also helps us taking a load off a bit.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. COMELEC says COVID-positive individuals will not be allowed to vote in May 9, 2022 elections. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said that isolation polling precincts are for voters who are showing symptoms at the day of the voting. There will be no alternative means of voting other than the in-person casting of votes. Metro Manila officials hope for the major reopening of economy by October. This as the capital is expected to vaccinate 90% of its target population by December. The Pentagon says the fatal drone attack that killed civilians in Afghanistan last month was a tragic mistake. Despite reports of civilian casualties emerge, the Pentagon said that the attack was righteous. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on a Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.